Welcome back to the Neighborhood Watch with the same familiar Santa Clarita Valley Sheriff Station public outreach law enforcement content, but with one new face. Deputy Kevin Duxbury. Welcome to the show, Dux.
Well, thank you. I hear I have a great face for radio.
That's what they tell you too, huh?
Yeah, awesome.
I just take it in stride. You know what I mean? That's a compliment. We have a lot to talk about today. It's been a busy couple weeks for the Santa Clarita Valley Sheriff Station. Want to talk about the Explorers, Community Academy, protecting property. Some unfortunate news. We had a drowning recently, and we want to talk about pool safety and how we can keep kids safe. But twice a month, we're going to keep doing this show. Deputy Josh Dubin is no longer with us. You are the new PIO, the voice, the face, the everything for the media.
This is what you got. So
this is what we got. So we'll make the most of it.
Right.
That's what we do here. Want to talk about twice a month. We're gonna be on here and talking about Santa Clarita Valley Sheriff Station outreach, what's going on in the community, how people can keep their kids safe and their property safe and their houses safe, and just basically be safe and sound. And first segment, you were talking to me a little bit about the Explorers, and they have some interesting stuff going on this weekend. But I want to back it up and explain to people what the Explorers are in case anybody's interested and maybe wants to get involved in the program. What is the Sheriff's? It's a department-wide thing, right? It's for all of LA County?
It
the
is,
Explorers?
yeah.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about that and how does that work? How do you get involved?
The Explorer program allows minors who are interested in law enforcement in their future or who just want to help out their local sheriff station to come in and basically work with us and help us out. They go through a short version of an academy. Once they pass that academy, they actually do wear a tan shirt and green pants like we do. Their patches are a little different. They don't have a badge.
Do they get the bear? They don't get the bear.
They don't get the bear.
Okay.
No. But and they help us out a lot with. You'll see them a lot when we do like the bike race through Santa Clarita or a lot of these runs that we do. You'll see them helping with traffic control and things like that.
Amgen Tour coming up. They'll probably be out there helping out.
Things like that. And they're a great asset. They're a big help to us, and it's an excellent way for someone who's too young to join law enforcement to get some good experience before they do and see how things really work.
Do you know the ages as far as eligibility? I mean, it's up to a certain age, or like when can you start to think about joining it?
I believe
it's a high school.
Yeah, it is. It is the high school level, and I believe the age out when you are too old is 18.
Oh, okay.
Don't specifically quote me on that, but
if they want more information, they can go to the Sheriff Station website.
If they want more information, yes, you can go to the LASD website. You can go to our station website. You can call the station and ask for Deputy Fanny Lapkin. She's actually in charge of the Explorers at our station.
Okay.
And,
so she does a lot of the community programs, and she would be the person to ask questions
she
about
is.
that.
I got to tell you, she is the most unappreciated person in Santa Clarita. She is a hard worker.
We appreciate Deputy Lapkin here at the Neighborhood Watch.
Great people.
And then also, but they were having a competition. That was why I kind of brought to mind the Explorers are competing against other Explorers, and most sheriff's departments have an Explorer program.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Pretty much. Most sheriff stations do have some kind of Explorer program. And this Saturday at Pitch's Detention Center, there's going to be doing a competition, and it's actually nationwide. Apparently, we're getting a lot of Explorers from other states coming to this competition. And basically what they're going to be doing is being placed in real law enforcement type scenarios, felony traffic stops, contacting a suspicious person, things like that. Actual sworn deputies from the crime prevention unit, including myself, will be there as monitors and judges, and we're going to watch them go through these scenarios, and it's going to be a competition.
So that's interesting. So you grade them on how well they perform like a real life duty.
Exactly.
Oh, right. Okay. So they get scored on like a 1 to 10, and the highest scoring team wins the competition.
Exactly.
Yeah, so
right.
Even I can understand that. It's kind of interesting that we're talking about the simulation because it kind of feeds directly into what we want to talk about next, which is the Community Academy. And that's a great program that was started, it was probably started a while ago, but I know recently Captain Roosevelt Johnson brought it back to the Santa Clarita Valley Station a few months ago. I believe in December they had the first class. And tell me a little bit about just how the Community Academy program works. And we might have to stop at the break, but I'm just going to let you keep going.
All right, then. Yeah, the Community Academy, you have to be 18 or older. And basically what it is it's a series of classes you go to for about 7 weeks. I believe it's 2 days a week, about 2 hours per session. And you learn all about how the Sheriff's Department operates. You learn how patrol works, how Detective Bureau works, about narcotics team and all these other teams that we have doing all these great things out there. Part of it is they have to go on a 4-hour ride-along with one of our deputies. They also get a jail tour up at Pitches Detention Center.
Did you do any of those ride-alongs?
I did several ride-alongs, but while I was still working custody and before I came out to patrol.
Oh, okay.
But it really gives just regular civilians in our city an opportunity to come out and see how the sheriff's department really works, and what's going on out there, and just how we function.
And so as far as talking about, is it a member of the detective bureau that comes in and kind of explains their duties and their responsibilities, or how is the information kind of presented to the class per se?
To be honest with you, it's fairly new to me also, just now stepping into the CPU. So once again, I'll refer to you to my hero, and that's Fanny Lapkin, because she's
Fanny Lapkin.
also in charge of that too.
Another shout out.
But yes, I do believe they get a walkthrough of the detective bureau where they work, and they get to talk to some detectives about how they operate.
And I'm going to ask you some more questions, just kind of generally about the program and some of the feedback you got from talking to some of the Academy graduates, as it were. We got to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS, on your Neighborhood Watch, brought to you by All American Bail Bonds. Welcome back on your Neighborhood Watch, brought to you by All American Bail Bonds. In the studio with me is Deputy Kevin Duxbury. And we were just talking about, as we do twice a month, Santa Clarita Valley Sheriff Station outreach, and more specifically the Community Academy, which is a fairly new program. It's growing, and there was more than a dozen graduates for this second class that just, I guess, got their cap and gown, you'd say.
Yeah, well, they get a really nice certificate and a diploma.
But what else were the takeaways from that? From talking to those people who went through the program, and you get that education, and what the detectives are up against, what the deputies are up against, and their kind of challenges and their experience in the community.
At graduation, the students were all given a chance to give their opinion of the class, and pretty much all of them were surprised at how hard we do work, and how things really go down, and how we operate. And one lady specifically, she said that the reason she was there was because one of her complaints was that we had an extended time to her home when she had a complaint about something going on. And she said once she did that ride-along, she saw what happened, because she said they tried to get to one house for a basic report call, and every time they got close, another emergency call came out, and she said same thing. It was 2 hours before we got to this poor person, and now I understand why.
Right. And we hear that a lot. It kind of it understands your perspective when you realize that there's only so many deputies that are covering a 600 square mile area that has more than 300,000 people, and when there's an emergency, it's hard to put your emergency in context,
right.
but it helps when you see other people responding to that, and that's why I've enjoyed the ride-alongs that I've taken a couple times, because it's really been an eye-opening experience. I had one with Deputy Josh Dubin, and then one with yourself, where we were going from it almost seemed like store to store to store, dealing with shoplifting and just the massive amount of kind of the paperwork and the evidence and all of that goes into those arrests for you guys. Right. And that was kind of really eye-opening, because when you hear people talk about the thefts and the going back on the street and Proposition 47 and kind of things, you don't understand how much it takes just for you guys to make a misdemeanor arrest until you see the volume of evidence, right, and the tracking and the talking and the conversation.
These students, I heard a lot of gratitude. A lot of them were really appreciative of how hard we really do work to keep the city as safe as it is.
And do you think just because from my experience, the ride-along, it just seems like it's been probably the biggest education for me. Is that the best value out of the program? Because you can sign up for those even if you can't take the Community Academy, right?
Oh, anybody can sign up for a ride-along. And we actually recommend it for anyone who's interested in law enforcement. It's a good opportunity to get out there and see how it really works. But you have to be over 18. And for a non-sworn person, like a civilian or a citizen, they can do a 4-hour ride-along with us, and they usually do that during the day shift or the PM shift. They're welcome to ride.
The action happens at night, though, right?
I'm not going to put down my
no, but you were no, of course not. But you were a night guy for a long time.
I was for a long time. I worked the night shift, so
you know what that's about.
Oh yeah. I was a night crawler.
And if somebody does want to sign up for a ride-along, let me guess, they can talk to Deputy Fanny Lapkin?
Actually, they call the station and ask for scheduling.
Okay,
and
scheduling.
you will talk to them, and they can set you up. And if there's a specific deputy that you know that you want to ride with,
you can do that.
Mention their name, and they can actually put
assuming
you
that deputy's okay with that
person. Right.
If that deputy has a checkered past with the person, maybe that's not who you want to ride along with for 4 hours.
Most people, when they hear they're riding with me, people are like, "Oh, I hope you brought a crash helmet." I was like, what?
Now, Speaking of that, though, and out in the community, property crime is another thing. It's been almost a constant since I've come out here because it's one of those things that it's a preventable crime, and so often people unknowingly or unwillingly or just forget and put themselves in a situation where they become a victim of a crime. Which isn't to say there's people going around trying to victimize other people, but a lot of the times these crimes can be prevented. And wanted to talk a little bit about some of the prevention techniques. Because you've probably seen it all,
Yeah,
and you've
you know,
probably seen
just-
the whole array of.
I'll give you a little scenario. I mean, imagine you've got a bunch of money, you want to put it in a bank. You get to the bank and you notice there's no locks on the doors. When you go inside, there's no security cameras, no security guard. There's no bulletproof glass, no desks, and these bank tellers are working with a big box next to their desk where they're just putting your money in. And at the back of the bank is a big shelf with all the money just stacked up there. Would you keep your money there?
I see where you're going, and I got to grab something under my mattress. I'll be right back.
What it comes down to is, people, they're under this conception that because we're such a safe city, these things are okay. But
Right.
when you don't take precautions, that message gets out, and bad people will realize that we could be an easy target, and it draws them into our city to do these crimes. So.
And as nice as parts of the Santa Clarita Valley are, I mean, if I'm a criminal, I'm not going to go to the rougher parts of town. I'm going to go to the nicer parts of town, and that's often where you see a lot of this stuff.
Right. So you like a bank that's secure,
Right.
and you know everything's going to be safe. You are the bank of your own personal property, and if you keep it safe, you won't lure in people that are going to.
Well, and talk to me about some of the other. It's not just in the home.
Right.
I mean, it's out there. It's there are bike thefts going on. You guys put out a news release or a nixle about bike thefts and registration. Is that the big thing right now? I mean, that people should be extra careful about because of the season, or what?
Yeah,
you know
we're
what I mean?
seeing a big increase in bicycle thefts right now. It's warming up. People are taking their bikes out more.
You're taking them out of the garage or putting them out on the street.
Yeah,
or,
and again, people, little things. It's pretty simple to secure your bike. It's not that hard. And you see it a lot where people go into Starbucks and they just lean their bike on the rail and I'm just going to be a minute. But my thought on that is, can you run faster than the guy stealing your bike? Okay, can you
'Cause he's on
outrun
a
that
bike.
guy on your bike? Exactly. Can you outrun the guy on your bike? It only takes a second to secure a bike, and we've got some tips if you guys are interested on security and the best way to secure your bike and things like that. But
yeah.
if you want to talk about that now or after the break,
Let's. Well, we got a minute. We got a
Okay.
minute. So, but another thing I thought was interesting, and correct me, but when I was a kid growing up, it was the U-bolt type locks. Those are what you were told. Is that still the
when you
industry
look at the
standard?
National Bike Registry, which is where you can register your bike, and we can get into that a little bit, they strongly recommend the U-bolt locks
Okay.
of steel construction. They say they are the one of the best locks you can use to secure your bike.
Because that goes around your middle bar, and you're not getting that thing off unless you get.
Well, it's
if you
just
got pliers and a blowtorch, maybe. But.
right, and it's just they're a lot harder to cut through than a cable lock or a chain lock.
Well, let's take a quick commercial break, and then I want to talk a little bit more about the National Bike Registry that you had mentioned, and we'll be right back on your Neighborhood Watch on your hometown station, AM 1220, KHTS, brought to you by All American Billboards.